Today we're gonna do something never done before on this channel. We're setting up a bioactive vivarium for some poison dart frogs. In my hand I have a pair of Dendrobates Leucamelas, also known as the Bumblebee frogs. The name Dendrobates Leucamelas literally translates to tree climber black and white. Funny enough, this is because when they were first shipped for study, they were preserved in alcohol, which washed out their yellow coloration, leaving scientists to think that they were black and white instead of black and yellow. And I chose these because these are the most beginner-friendly poison dart frogs. And with the help of ExoTerra's amazing products, I'm gonna show you how easy it can be to set up a self-sustaining, automated slice of the rainforest. ExoTerra has sponsored us with everything we need to make this happen, so a huge thanks to them. But enough talking, let's begin. To start with, we're going to assemble ExoTerra's terrarium cabinet. It's straightforward, a little bit frustrating, but once it's done, you're left with a very sturdy cabinet. Okay, that took way longer than it needed to. So simple, yet so hard. See, I want to keep the terrarium here, but obviously we have the cylinder here, so I think I have to move the cylinder. And I do not want to drain it. Instead, I think I can slide it. Excuse the mess here, but you know, I'm in the middle of a move. This might actually be the last video I make in this house. Because we're about to sign a contract on a huge house with a huge basement where I'm going to create the Terraqua cave. Now let's move on to the terrarium itself. Which is the Frogs & Company ExoTerra tree frog vivarium. But I'm going to use it for dart frogs, obviously. This lid makes this line very special. You can open it like this, close it like that. And you have a glass lid here for the light, and then you have ventilation here for ventilation. If you don't want so much ventilation, you can always cover this with a plastic wrap or bubble wrap or something like that. And right here in the back, we could use this as a background. But if you know me, I like to make my own backgrounds, so we're not going to use this. I might save it for something else in the future. Yes! Oh, it's heavy. Little unique way of opening the door, which I don't know how to do right now. Ah, because there's tape. I should have known. And then we have this little box right here. That is silicone to the bottom. What? And in this box we have some cool items. We have a hose and a few connectors. And of course, a guide. Been able to see what we're doing, I'm going to install this light. And this light is called Terra Sky. It looks like this, and it has these brackets on each side. And as you can see, it can go from 3000 to 25,000 Kelvin. It's very good for a planted terrarium. And it comes with a remote, so you can change the colors, you can change the programs, and you can even add thunderstorms, which is very cool. Let's try that one out. Yeah, that's pretty cool. And as I said before, I'm not going to use this backdrop. If you don't have the time or the knowledge or the patience to make your own background, this is more than enough. So you close it and then you lock it. Boom, slick, clean design. But before we start building the actual tank, we have to install the drainage. What we do is we take this little tubing, we open it up, and then now we have to measure 13 inches or 33 centimeters. This is exactly the length from the hole to the back of the terrarium. So I'm gonna cut this here, and then we're gonna push it over this as far as it goes. And then we're gonna connect this to the elbow. Like that. And then you connect the rest of the tube. And then we connect it to the drain thingy. And we add the lock nut. Okay, I have the rubber thingy here, so make sure that we don't have any leaks. And then I just place it on top of the hole and we simply screw it in. Now we're gonna take a look at the ExoTerra's misting system. This is the Monsoon Multi 2. The The reason why it's called multi is because you can connect it to many different terrariums. This is what it looks like fresh out of the box. This is the lid. We have some tubings and accessories in here. This is the power. And then we have the tank. So this is 8 liters or 2 gallons. So we have this filter that I guess is supposed to be inside. Yeah, you just connect it here. You connect it to the tank like that and put it inside. So it comes with 2 nozzles like this, but you can connect up to 6 nozzles. It starts with 1 tube that's supposed to go to the multi, and then we have this double connector here that connects to each nozzle like that. It's important to only use reverse osmosis water. This is to prevent mineral buildups in the nozzles. Now let's connect nozzles. I hope you can see what I'm doing. You just click it in very well, and then we'll bring it up to the tank. I think I need to disconnect the hose. You do that by simply just pulling it back, the blue thingy, like that. There's a little hole here. I just push it through the hole. Like so. So you see this thing right here? That's where you're supposed to put the nozzle. The first 2 buttons are on and off buttons. This is useful if you want to mist manually. The third one sets the cycle, which brings us to the 4th button. And here you can decide how often you want it to spray. And finally, the 5th one decides the duration of the spray. Let's just see what happens if I press on. Oh, starting spray. I don't like that it's leaking. So if I'm being completely honest, this bothers me a little bit, but it's not the end of the world, you know, if there's a little drip here. Now I want to test the drainage, see how that works. I'm going to add some water. Now we're draining the tank into the bucket. Right here. And thankfully there's no leak. Now that we got the misting system, the light, and we've tested the drainage layer, I think we can move on to the background. And I've chosen cork bark. It's a cork bark background. And it's not a perfect fit, there's some space on each side, but I think we can fill that in with some moss and stuff like that, you know. Alright, so I'm back from lunch now, and I think I can remove this safely now. Yeah, that's not going anywhere. This setup will definitely benefit from a drainage layer. I'll be using BioDrain. It's very lightweight and it even looks good from the side. Don't do what I just did. And to separate everything, I'm going to use this BioDrain Terrarium mesh. This is just so the substrate doesn't mix in with the drainage layer. It doesn't need to be perfect, but yeah. Now let's go mix the Substrate. The first ingredient is COCO husk. It's nice and chunky and drains well. The second is SUBSTRATUM, a volcanic substrate with plant nutrients and will keep the vivarium clean and healthy. The third one is an organic topsoil and sand mix, seasoned with beneficial bacteria, springtails and isopods. And the main hardscape will also be a cork bark, but as is, it's too big. So what I did here is I cut it in 3 pieces. Doom, bloom. I removed this, and now I can bring this to the front. So something can come out of here, something here, and then something in the front. But you know, it's not going to stay in place by itself like this. So I'm going to use some silicone, some aquarium safe silicone, to glue everything together. little bit of more, a little bit of there, and then we smeary with the fingy, smeary with the fingy, and just take some of this moss. And just like that, the silicone disappears. Looks like it's been like this forever. So it's now the next day, and the silicone has cured. I've done some testing of the misting system, that's why everything is damp. I didn't do that before because then the silicone wouldn't cure. I really like the structure, but I do not like this. This cut is way too even, so I want to take it out and like rough it up a bit. Much better. Maybe I want to cut this thing off. Yeah, much better. When it comes to plants, we have a lot to choose from, and the most natural choice would be bromeliads. But I don't really want to take from here because there could be crabs, there could be morning geckos inside of them. Yesterday I saw that the morning geckos had reproduced and they were smaller than my fingernail. So they could easily hide amongst the leaves inside the bromeliads. Another obvious choice would be ferns. These particular ferns came from the forest. Mino, please. Every time. Why do you have to do this every time? Go away. It's just giving Kiwi the opportunity to roam around freely a bit. And Mino always interrupts. I could also take this little begonia, the one there with the spots on the leaf, because it's being smothered by this gigantic fern. It's a crab right there. This is some sort of ficus creeping fig. Not really sure the scientific name, but I'm sure that it's a ficus something. The Java ferns are actually doing super well out of the water. And then we have the infamous asparagus fern that we could take from here a little bit perhaps. So yeah, let's close up here and move on to the next tank. This right here is another crab tank. As you can see, we have a vampire crab right there. And in here we have some phytonias, begonias. That's a begonia. This one right here is a begonia. These are phytonias, begonias. And this purple plant right here, this one, Radiscantia sebrina. Look at all the babies. There's a baby right there, a baby right there, a baby right there, and a baby right there. I don't know what's up with this tank, but it just keeps producing babies. There's another one right there. Speaking of babies, in here I recently set this up for the babies that came from the mothership, and I think I have more than 50 crabs in here. Can you see him? He's right there in that little hole. Another one right there. And then we have my rainbow boas tank, which has a bromeliad that's just been smushed into this corner. So if I'm gonna take a bromeliad, I can actually take this one. Oh, we have another plant in here. This one, I don't know if this is like a Monstera Swiss cheese philodendron thingy. I like the texture of this plant, so we might take some of that. Excuse me. Excuse me. This is my green basilisk Leo. Say hi, Leo. Oh, so scary. It's beautiful. This lizard is amazing. Just look at his tail running down into the water. We have a lot of guppies in here. We have some snails on that little rock. And there should be a lot of amano shrimp in here as well. There's one in the back. You can barely see his face. Anyway, in Leo's tank we have this cool looking plant. It's not doing super well in here. I have no idea why. We have again pothos, begonia, and phytonia. We have some smothered ferns down there. Maybe we'll take this fern and rescue it. And that's about it. In this cylinder we have a cool plant. I think it's called Scooby-Booby Atatapapupuense, something like that, which I think would be very good in the frog tank because it really needs high humidity. And we also have the Swiss cheese plant. This is a Mexican oregano. It smells a lot. Smell. I think I'm gonna separate it and have one in each. Oh, I don't know if you can see that, but there's like 1 million isopods in here. One could go here, and another one could go right in there. I think I want to put this little fern. I mean, it's not perfect, it has some dead leaves, but I really like it. I really like the imperfection in things, you know. I'm not sure about the tatapapupuense, but I really want this Swiss cheese thingy. Super fresh. And I'm gonna place it around the log like this. Hopefully it will grab on and climb the log. It's coming together nicely. Why do I talk like Borat? Let's give everything a good spray. I would say we're about 90% done with this tank. There are a couple of things I want to add. And one of those things are springtails. This is my trusty colony. And the second thing is leaf litter. This is bromeliad leaves, these are some fern leaves, and underneath it we have some oak leaves that I collected myself. And we want a thick layer of leaf litter, because dart frogs like to have their wet back, but their feet, they like to have their back wet, but their feet wet, dry. What I was trying to say is that poison dart frogs like to have their back wet, but their feet dry. So a thick layer of leaf litter is key. All right. There's one last thing I want to add, and that's a coconut hide. I'm going to split this in half. Be very careful when you do this. Don't do it like I'm doing it. We're in. I put a little bowl underneath just to collect the juice. Ah, it's all molded inside. Look. Why do you want to smell it? Oh, shit. Well, I think I can still use it if I like boil it or something. Good thing I bought two. Same thing here, it's all moldy. Yes, I'm gonna clean this. This one is a little bit moldy, but yeah, I'm gonna clean them as good as I can. It's been 5 days now since we set this up, and I went to Italy to visit some relatives. And while I was there, we went to the forest to pick some mushrooms. And I found some amazing isopods, just walking around on top of the mushrooms. Look, it's gigantic. And it has some yellow coloration. It will fit very well with the Leucamelas. So let's add this boy right now. Italian isopods. So let's see here. Without knowing, this really looks like a female to me. There she goes. Straight into the cave. And I think that this is a boy. Let's see. Might be a female as well. Yeah, she's pretty fat as well.
Che mamma rinina. Tu la ba. Papa na. Dana. Tu la ba. Papa na. Dana. Che mamma.